Hello,
Apparently, Charlie has 3 weeks ago made a video called "My Thoughts on One Piece So Far." Let's watch it.
Charlie Clips fam. So, as promised, I want to do a little debriefing on One Piece. As many of you know, I've been actively chipping away at One Piece for like 2 years now,
2 years. You better be a good amount in. Come on, I believe
maybe a little
Charlie.
longer than 2 years, because I really wanted to get into the hype. I wanted to feel what One Piece fans feel, where it's talked about as one of the best pieces of fiction ever written in the history of our
It
species.
is.
And I'd never really gotten into it. So about 2 years ago, I made the decision to take the plunge. I was gonna cannonball into the pool and just let it ride. And man, what a laborious, slow journey it has been. So, we're just gonna go through the full thing. I just finished the Skypiea arc, so
Oh, he's only had Skype. Yeah, it's been 2 years.
I'm just gonna cover all of my feelings up till this point. Now, I knew this show was
So up until Skypiea, at least he experienced Alabasta. I feel like if you've seen Baratier, you've seen Arlong Park, you've seen the entirety of the Alabasta saga, you should be addicted. If not, if you're not invested at this point, it's just not for you. While there's a lot of slow moments and slow arcs, or maybe not amazing arcs along the way, you've seen some peak One Piece.
was going to be a bit of a slow burn, which I'm completely fine with. In fact, there's a lot of slow burn anime that I enjoy. I don't need just fucking nuts to butts action, like beautiful, animation on every fight or anything like that. But what I didn't expect with One Piece is just how long it takes for characters to become interesting. Now that I'm 200 episodes in, characters that were introduced in the very beginning are just now starting to grow on me and become what I feel is a more fleshed out, more three-dimensional character as opposed to just 2D tropey shit. Like, example.
I feel like when Sanji's introduced, you get a good backstory. Only half of it, but you get a good one. When Nami's introduced, you get a good backstory. Usopp's introduction is not the best, but I still liked him as a character. He was funny and all that. Zoro's backstory isn't the greatest. Not a fan. But still a great character, super badass. Luffy, we get a little bit of backstory, right?
Sanji. Sanji's just like girl crazy, always fucking hearts in his eyes, auga, auga, and like for the entire duration of his character arcs through Skypiea. Now, post Skypiea, or getting to post Skypiea, I feel very differently about him now. I feel like he's going in a different direction that is more interesting. Zoro is a character that I liked from the beginning and I like more now. But he very much is just like stoic, beat ass, eat ass kind of cool
Yeah.
shonen character. He hasn't had like a ton of depth carved out for him as of this moment, but he's just a cool character. Luffy, on the other hand, has not changed one fucking bit, and I
And he won't.
find a lot of his character traits extremely grating. In Skypiea, I could not stress how much of a headache it was every time they went to Luffy in the belly of the fucking snake. He spent like 40 episodes in the snake's belly going, "This is a weird cave. This is a weird cave. Such a weird cave. Gum Gum Gatling on the cave walls. I'm gonna bust out." For 40 fucking episodes until other members, Nami and them get in there and like lead him out. It's just Luffy's character I am still not fully sold on. I don't
I love Luffy's character.
really enjoy Luffy. He's like my least favorite character of the Straw Hat crew.
He does develop a little bit and change a little bit, but for the most part, Luffy's Luffy. He wants to be free, and I think he's a great character for the One Piece world. Very fitting for the One Piece world.
He is just in this perpetual daze, like a trance of
He's like a Goku type character, but just better.
stupid juice running through his veins.
And by better, I mean stronger. Go at it, keyboard warriors.
He's always just meat, 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 can't wait to eat meat, and then just always fucking dumb. He's only ever serious at the very end of a fight or at the very beginning of a fight, and it usually only lasts for like 15, 20 seconds so far. I get that he's that way intentionally, but that doesn't mean that I like that aspect of him. Like, it's fine to have goofiness for your main character, but he shouldn't be perpetually goofy all of the time. And so far, he has been. Even in extremely serious circumstances, just the constant stupidity and like unrelenting.
Well, he enjoys the adventure. He enjoys the serious circumstances. Like him being in a snake, I guess you could think about it like, oh, other people are fighting, but he trusts his friends to fight, and like he's kind of just enjoying the ride, you know?
silliness of him is just becoming so tiresome. And I'm hoping that at some point they ease off the gas on that aspect of his character. But I do want to make it clear, overall, I am enjoying the show more now. Alabasta arc was really good. Skypiea, not so much. Everything in Skypiea I thought was extremely underwhelming and a step back from Alabasta, except for its villain. Inaru is really...
To be honest, I loved Skypiea when I read it. When I read Skypiea, because it's only like 30 chapters or something like that, or like 40 chapters, I feel like I read it in like one sitting. I'm like, this was so good. But I would probably imagine the anime just makes it really, really daunting.
cool. And
What
I
up, King? How
love
you
how
doing?
they played off of Luffy being the rubber man and Iniru being obviously all lightning based, and
That
how
was
it
great.
just doesn't work on Luffy because he's the fucking rubber man and rubber doesn't exist up there in Skypiea. So that was a really cool thing. And then also playing around with Inaru's mantra where he's able to like predict your moves, like read your moves in the future.
And he's just like relying on instinct and just turned his brain off. It was great.
Like Luffy combats this by basically just slapping around his ship and hitting him with ricochet blows so that way Luffy's not thinking about anything so Iniru can't read his mind, which I thought was very creative and cool. There were good moments of Skypiea and I really like everything towards the end with the Iniru fight. But overall, it was a slog to get through. It took me close to 6 months to finish Skypiea because I just kept falling asleep since it was such a snooze fest for so much of it. The priests were trash. All of the priest moments were absolutely awful. So that was a good chunk of it. But then also just a lot of the stuff about Skypiea, while I thought conceptually was cool, was executed really underwhelmingly. Now I understand most people say the manga is a lot better pacing than the anime, and I bet you're probably right.
Oh, it's crazy how little they adapt in a single episode of One Piece. That's why you should have watched One Piece,
I've
100%.
already committed to the anime as my main form of digesting this story. And like I said, I am enjoying it more now than I did. So I'm hoping that it's really only up from here. I want to give my full thoughts on
Well, he's gonna get Ennis Lobby and Water 7 down, which is a pretty great saga.
everything, like I said. So let me dial back the clock a little bit here. A lot of people said Arlong Park is like one of the best arcs in One Piece. I fucking hated Arlong.
How?
I couldn't stand anything about that. I think Arlong was a pretty cool villain, but the second that it actually came down to like the payoff where Luffy's challenging Arlong, it was absolutely fucking awful. Like
So
I
he just didn't like the fight itself.
thought it was such a wet fart of a conclusion. They hype up Arlong. You get a lot of information about Nami, which I appreciated. Nami actually had a lot of depth given to her very early on, so she for a little while was probably one of
Is he skipping filler? The problem is it's hard to skip filler in One Piece because a lot of it's like intertwined. Like a single episode will cover some canon content and then some non-canon content. They mix it in. I don't know how you could hate Arlong Park when you get like Nami's backstory and what's it called, Luffy giving Nami his hat, which is his treasure and something he like values so much. And him and the boys walking to Arlong Park with the music, busting down the walls, fighting these fishmen that are so much physically stronger than them. Don't get me wrong, maybe the fight wasn't amazing. It came out fucking 20 years ago, the actual fight itself. But I love Arlong Park. I think it's fantastic.
one of my favorite characters just because I knew the most about her and that she had a good sympathetic story. But Arlong, this whole arc was spent like hyping up just how fearsome he is, the fishman as well. But then it boils down to Luffy ending it in like a single axe kick. And the axe kick was like cool, like it looked cool, but having it all end in one blow is not satisfying at all. And it really
That's how I feel about My Hero Academia a lot of the time. It's like, gruesome fight. Oh my god, 1000% punch.
kind of just
But yeah, you know what? Like, that's why I always say there's a lot of series that have a lot better fights than One Piece. But One Piece has great moments that supersede most of other anime's moments.
pisses on the whole journey getting to that point, in my opinion. You need to have like a satisfying conclusion to a character like that. And it brings me to my next complaint that no bad guys die.
That's true. It's like Arlong Park could just go back to fucking up the village, or doing other bad things somewhere else.
Like even from the very beginning, Don Krieg, They hype up Don Krieg. He was kind of shit, obviously, but I mean, it was early.
At least Don Krieg probably died, right? When they tried to go spend the last of his life, or Geen tried to spend the last of his life bringing them back to the Grand Line or something. I don't remember.
On. I understand it's going to be difficult to make a cool villain. In fact, Mihawk was the coolest part of this entire section. Mihawk coming in during the Don Krieg moments. But Don Krieg gets defeated and carried away.
I thought the Baratier was great because you get Sanji's introduction. I think he's a cool character. He's my favorite. You get his backstory, which I think is great. You get Mihawk coming in and fucking up a ship in half, seeing how far and how weak the crew really is compared to the rest of the world. And then you get a great fight between Luffy and Don Krieg. While Don Krieg's maybe not the best villain, I think you get to see who Luffy is a little bit more. You get to learn about Luffy as a person in this arc.
Hey, you know, like they fucking hoist him up like Rudy after the Notre Dame win, you know? Like they hoist
and through the fight.
Him out, they sail away, and he's fine. Like he lives. But he never comes back into the story. And I got curious, so I looked up if he ever comes back, and from as I understand it, he doesn't. But he's still alive. So if he's still alive but doesn't come back, why not just kill him? It's a lot more sensical in the universe, especially for a situation like they were in, if you would just kill that big bad. It's not like they drive home this idea that, like, killing is this ultimate evil thing. You know, Luffy's not fucking Batman, right? Like, Luffy understands the danger with fighting and all of it. So I really think it would have made more sense to be killing these... they're not major villains, but they were for their time, like in their arc. These bad guys. Kudo, another example. Kudo was hyped up. This introduced Usopp. Like, this was a big moment. I'm still not the biggest Usopp enthusiast or anything. Like, Usopp's still pretty fucking annoying, but he's having more moments now where I appreciate some of his character. But I'm getting sidetracked. Kudo was the big bad of that time, and once again, gets defeated relatively easily. Like, there was never really feeling like any big stakes there or any real challenge. Gets defeated.
Yeah, Syrup Village is kind of just mid.
But not killed. So he's still alive, sails off, you know, he's gone, but alive. Why? I just feel like it makes more sense to be killing those characters. There's only a couple...
I agree with Charlie here. Well, I feel like Luffy, like, shatters their dreams by winning, or, like, what they're trying to do by winning in a way. I feel like killing them just makes more sense.
This is so far where they, like, have a villain that they defeat, you know, like a Pokemon battle, like, oh, the enemy fainted, where I feel like it makes sense that that happened.
Good night, Forgotten.
And that's, like, when that's the case, I get it, but those are just rare exceptions. And it's also not just bad guys. It seems like there's a big apprehension to killing any characters at all, no matter if they're good, bad, or if they're major or minor. Another example of this is during the Alabasta arc, which I do like a lot, they have a character named Pell. And at one point, Pell
should have fucking died.
Carries like a goddamn nuclear bomb away in order to save everyone. It's a very noble sacrifice moment. He picks up the bomb and he's flying up into the goddamn stratosphere like an actual hero, a patriot, you know? Like that scene from the Iron Giant, I'm Superman. Pell carries this bomb up there, it blows up, and you're under the impression Pell has sacrificed himself for everyone, and it's a really powerful moment. But it turns out Pell...
Brooder with the gifted sub. Thank you, buddy.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Appreciate ya. Yo, Brooder, would you like a waifu for the waifu wall, by the way? We have it pretty empty for today so far.
Pell's alive. Somehow.
That's annoying. I agree, Charlie.
Just because. He's just alive. Why? You have this incredible character moment. You have all of this, like, great setup for this moment. This would conclude everything that Pell has been set up for, and you have the bomb, it blows up. He should have died, but he doesn't, for no reason, and he's not even a major character. Pell.
I do feel like when someone does actually die, it does have a bigger impact because it's so rare, but something like Pell's sacrifice is a great moment because he's sacrificing his life, so him living kind of defeats the purpose. And like you said, like, a death should mean more when it rarely happens. I think that was a good instance to have someone sacrifice their life. So I think that was a throw for sure.
Pell was, by all definitions, a minor side character, but they couldn't even kill him. They couldn't pull the trigger on something like that, which would have been better. Like, up until now, I don't think there has been a single character death, good or bad, in anything outside of flashbacks. All character deaths that we have been made aware of so far have all been in flashbacks
True.
or just completely nameless henchmen that caught some strays. Like other than that, I don't think there have been any like noteworthy deaths at all in general, which I just think is so silly. Like I don't understand exactly why. Now I know that does change in the future. I Tiana watched all of One Piece. I know a lot of where this story goes and like character deaths. So I'm looking forward to when we start getting to that point where characters do die, because I think that improves the overall stakes in the narrative. Because if you're going into these episodes like I am, knowing that, oh, this guy's probably not going to die because no one else has so far, then there's really no stakes. Also, I take it back. There has been one death that I can think of off the top of my head
Who?
right now, and that was the chunky priest in Skypiea, the Ordeal of Spheres, the ball guy, the ball juggler.
I don't even remember
He
that.
is dead, and the only reason we know he's dead is because his brothers were like, "You killed him," and that's the confirmation. Never mind, scratch that. I decided to look it up. He's not actually dead. I see.
Of course.
I must not have got to the episode where they sentence him and the other priest to their cloud drifting prison sentence. So, no one that I can think of in this show so far has died outside
Okay, we've been talking about character deaths for like 6 or 7 minutes now.
of flashbacks. But yeah, anyway, that's just another thing that I feel like is just a little lacking is stakes, because no characters are actually dying or anything, so everything's kind of got like a happy ending and happy resolution right now. But yeah, overall, it's not like I hate the show. I really didn't like it and really had to force myself to keep watching it early on, but now I am enjoying it a lot more, and I'm hoping that it only continues to get better. Also, shoutouts to Chopper, because I also really like Chopper. I forgot to mention that. Chopper's whole story I thought was also pretty good, and he is still, like, he gets very tropey. Like, he started off with a lot of depth to him, and now he's kind of fallen into more of a two-dimensional comic relief character, which I think is a little weird, but I'm sure that it's just setting him up for, like, big moments coming forward. But, yeah, anyway, that's kind of where I'm at One Piece.
I wish that he talked more about like the actual arcs and what he liked and disliked about them. I guess he did a little bit. He briefly touched upon Baratier and Arlong Park and Syrup Village and Skypiea. Did he talk about Alabasta a little bit? I guess that's what started the whole death thing. I'm gonna say so. There's still a lot of good to come. Water 7 and his lobby, Marine Ford, are coming up. Sad Bioti is coming up for him as well. All within the next like 300 episodes. So hopefully he enjoys it, because there's a lot of good to come. But if he's not in love by now, I feel like he might never be in love. Because at the end of the day, there's still a lot of good arcs already. Like between Alabasta, Baratier, Arlong. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people either love it or hate it by then. And I think he's forcing himself to do it despite not loving it.
Just finished Skypiea. I don't remember what the next arc I'm going into is, but I'll keep you all posted here on Moist Charlie
He's going into G8, boys.
clips. So yeah.
All right, boys. Are we going over to Kick to watch some anime? I think we are. I think it's time. We reacted to like 2 different videos. So I think I have like 5 videos I could upload currently to the YouTube channel. Every 11 a.m., every day 11 a.m., new YouTube video on my channel starting tomorrow. We got this.